right, today we're going to talk about how to prove lines are parallel. We've talked about what we do if the lines we are given are parallel, what those special angle relationships they're existing as. Now we're going to go the opposite way. So if I don't know the lines are parallel and I want to prove that they're parallel, if corresponding angles are congruent, then the lines are parallel. So again, what we've talked about in the past is I tell you that the lines are first parallel, and if they're parallel, then you can tell me the corresponding angles are congruent. We're just going to do the opposite of that. So we're going to start with the corresponding angles are congruent. If that's true, then my lines are going to be parallel. If alternate interior angles are going to be congruent, then the lines are parallel. Look at all those relationships. If same side interior angles, so we are looking for a supplementary relationship there. If the angles are supplementary, then the lines are going to be parallel to each other. If alternate exterior angles are congruent, then the lines are parallel. If same side exterior angles are supplementary, then the lines are parallel. We think about what relationship existed, what we've known in the past, if the lines are parallel. If the lines are parallel, these are the relationships I'm expecting to find. So if I find those relationships, then I can conclude that the lines are parallel. If two lines are perpendicular to the same line, then those two lines have to be parallel. So we are doing the converse of everything that we talked about prior. We're just switching the hypothesis and the conclusion. So given the diagram, write all possible congruency statements. Congruency. Remember, congruency means two things are congruent, so we're not including those supplementary relationships. Same side interior, same side exterior are supplementary, so that's not what we're talking about here. Write all possible congruency statements that, if true, would prove line R parallel to line S. So we're looking to see if lines R and S are parallel. If lines are parallel, then what would I expect to find? So if the lines are parallel, I would expect to find alternate interior angles congruent. I would expect to find alternate exterior angles congruent. And I would expect to find all corresponding angles to be congruent. So I'm going to write those relationships down. Let's go ahead and start with the alternate interior. So in order to prove that line R and S are parallel to each other, I would have to show one set of alternate interior angles being congruent. So 5 and 3, those are alternate interior angles. So if I could show that angle 5 is congruent to angle 3, I could prove the lines are parallel. Another set of alternate interiors are 4 and 6. So if I could show that angles 4 and 6 were congruent, then I could show that those angles would be, or the lines would be parallel. I don't have to show all of them. If I can show one relationship, then I can draw my conclusion. I could also prove the lines are parallel by showing that the alternate exterior angles are congruent. So if I have 8 here, alternate exterior, if I could show that angle 8 would be congruent to angle 2, I could prove my lines parallel. Angle 7, whoops, not angle 4. We want alternate exterior. So 7's on the bottom, 1's on the top. Exterior angles show that angle 7 is congruent to angle 1. And last, we could show that the corresponding angles are congruent. And we've always got a lot more corresponding angles. So corresponding, remember, are angles that are in same position. So angle 8 and angle 4, those are corresponding angles. Angle 5 and angle 1. I could also say angle 7 and angle 3. And last, 6 and 2. I could use any one of these 2, 4, 6, 8 relationships, these congruency statements. I could use any one of those 8 to prove the lines were parallel, because if the lines were parallel, those relationships would exist. If the measure of angle 5 and 4, if I add together the measure of those two angles, so let's clean up our graph here, 5 and 4. So here's 5, here's 4. If I added 5 and 4 together and it equaled 180, could that prove that line R is parallel to line S? Yes. We think about what relationship would I expect to find. So I think about the name of the relationship, and those are same side interior angles. So yes, because angle 5 and angle 4 are same side interior angles. If R was parallel to S, then same side interior angles would be supplementary. And we know that supplementary means they add to 180. So remember, when you're doing your explanations, make sure that you answer their question, use mathematical support, and correct vocabulary. So if they're supplementary, which means they add to 180.